Hey, this is Dan Milligan from the Joy Thieves and the Burying Kind, and you're listening to Void Signal with Brian McClelland.
Attached. I overdose my soul with beautiful fragments of you. I overdose my soul with beautiful fragments. I don't mind getting dirty. Nothing gold can stay. I don't mind getting dirty. Nothing gold can stay. Can stay. I don't want anything else from you. Got to burn just like me. I don't want anything else from you, but to ache just like me. Let's heal wounds together. One becomes many, many becomes one. You may be my devil, you may be my God. I overdosed my soul with beautiful fragments of you. I overdosed my soul with beautiful fragments. I'm sick of your expectations. I'm sick of my expectations. Why can't we just let go for a while? My soul with beautiful fragments. I don't mind getting dirty. Nothing gold can stay. I don't mind getting dirty. Nothing gold can stay. Can stay. Can stay.
I didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't have the technique to go up there. Now I probably do, and I know how to change my falsetto. I know how to belt out some higher notes, but back then, no one showed me. That was really. Now thinking back, I think it was more like really theoretical music teaching without actually giving you the skills to be able to use your own voice.
Right.
So maybe that's something to think about here in Hungary. I mean, I'm not sure about, the education, music education,
Sure.
in the US or UK or anywhere in Europe, but here in Hungary it was definitely an issue. I mean, now it's getting better because, for example, where Chris is teaching, that is a talent center, as they call it. There are different ages, different age groups from like 6 up to 18. And they're getting all sorts of treatment from modern music, and everything is really subjective and personal. So they give you tips how to do that and how you can practice up to that. So it's really hands-on. But in national schools, I don't think it's like that.
It's not
still.
Great here. It's not that good here. That's for sure. It's sort of an afterthought. Like, they teach you, the music education in a lot of public schools here in the States is just sort of centered around like, can you play this before the football game? Like kind of a thing. Like its only benefit is that. I mean, sadly, that's the truth. I do have to sort of derail our conversation here for just a minute because I'm so profoundly upset and embarrassed that I did not push the record button. So...
You can ask me all these questions again. Don't worry.
I'm sorry. Like it's recording now,
okay.
But like I hate it when when something really good happens, like really good organic conversation, and then I'm just like, oh, hey, by the way, I fucked this up somehow. Like, it's... anyway.
Now that you tell me, I'm going to froze.
Yeah, I know. Now you're going to be like, oh.
I'm going to be frozen.
Yeah. But, well, just to sort of touch on that a little bit, because I did,
of course.
It's doing its thing now. I'm sorry for that to happen. But I'm glad that you sort of found your voice and that it's not something that you just gave up on, because as you sort of mentioned, sort of prior to earlier in this conversation, you mentioned that you had not really had a lot of never really felt like you kind of fit in with like your voice and everything, given your social interactions and social influences and everything like that. I'm really glad that you found your voice and that you've been making music, because I really respect and appreciate everything that you and Krisztian do, but I'm also glad that other girls have people like you to sort of look up to and listen to. I mean, I know for a fact I've been best friends with my wife for 22, 23 years, something like that.
Wow.
And that was something that she has said to me and conveyed to me privately, is like, man, where was a Black Nail Cabaret when I was a teenager? Like, I would have loved to have a band like this to listen to, where it's a female voice that's going through and explaining or talking about things that she never got a chance to process, I guess. And so
wow.
I'm really glad that you're out there doing the work that you're doing.
That's the most amazing feedback we've heard, I think, this year, in the last year. That's amazing. And this always moves me when we receive such comments, that, for example, we helped somebody to get through a difficult year. This is why we do it in the first place. This is the craving that sort of drives us to connect with people, even though I'm not that much of a social person. I mean, I love to chat after shows, I love to talk to people, but I'm not seeking the opportunity to talk to people. But I think this is probably my way of connecting with them on a deeper level.
Oh, absolutely. I would think so. I mean, like, I think there's value in sort of, and kind of what I wanted to capture with like the podcast is just sort of like, I don't know, the kind of like back alley conversations like after a show or before a show of like, you know, people who love art getting to talk about art. Like, it's not something that we really make time for very much, and it's something I like to talk about a lot. I'm really glad that you guys are making music. So Krisztian is abroad teaching right now. You said he's
not abroad. He's just in the city nearby.
Oh, gotcha.
So this talent center that I mentioned earlier, that he's teaching at, is actually in the city next to us. It's just a small, well, not city, it's a town. It's a small town, but beautiful. And the school is up on the hill, overlooking the lake. So it's wonderful, and it's for young people between the age of 6 and 18, and there are all kinds of classes from instrumental to sort of band workshops. So they're really preparing the youth how to be present on stage, how to sort of promote themselves. There are also management classes, and obviously instrumental classes like guitar, bass guitar, drums, singing,
right,
and all that. And Chris is teaching sound design and how to use the synthesizers and how to music production, obviously.
Right.
What he's good at.
I mean, it almost sounds like a sort of a modern take on like an art school, I guess. Sort of.
It's really a modern hands-on music school. I would say it's not even a school, it's like a community.
Yeah, it sounds pretty amazing. I mean, I would love something like that. I mean, I'm 39, but if I shave my beard, I have kind of a round boyish face, I could probably pull off like maybe a large teenager.
I mean, adults can enroll as well. So there's no age limit really. And Chris actually does have adult students, and also he actually teaches some of the teachers he's working with. So yeah, so they're kind of teaching each other to each other's crafts. So that's great. So it's really like a community.
That sounds amazing. I mean, is this something that, like, I don't know if this is something that he's ever discussed, but I mean, has he ever considered, like, trying to bring something like that into, like, an online space?
That was the original idea, to start teaching maybe on Skype with a screen share, so you can actually show how this and that works, and maybe do an Ableton Live class or whatever. And then he was approached by this talent center, which was just forming, and they were still refurbishing the building to get it ready. And he sort of came up with a class plan for this specific class, which now is hopefully going to be used by other schools which are going to be built on this example, which is the first one in Hungary. So we don't have any other like this yet, but hopefully most of the bigger cities will do in the next few years. And all that will be based on the teaching plan, on the educational plan of this particular school. So, for example, if they want to start a sound design and music production, they will base it on what Chris is teaching and how he's doing things. Gotcha. So that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that sounds wonderful. I'd love to do something like that. I mean, I know that, you know, outside of Black Nail Cabaret, I know you both have your own things that you're doing. What are you doing? What do you have coming up for yourself?
Coming up?
Yeah, just what are you going to be working on for the next couple of months?
Right. Okay. So, musically or in my personal life?
As much as you're willing to sort of share or talk about. I mean, like, if it pertains to making art, or, I mean, honestly, it's whatever you want to share. I mean, if you want to, you know.
So I'm not planning anything particular in the next couple of months outside of BNC because I did a few collaborations. One of them has actually been released yesterday as a music video, which I'm really proud of. It's with Man and Machine together, a sort of a post-punk-ish techno-esque song, so it's a mixture of lots of genres. So anyway, I've been doing quite a few collabs in the past few months, and there are still some in the pipeline, but we also have demos with BNC for a new album, which I would really love to start working on soon. But right now we have some shows to do, and I'm also running an office for a psychiatrist, so gotcha. That's sort of my side thing that I'm doing.
The real job for
yeah.
Gotcha.
That keeps me really busy.
I'm sure. I just happened to I don't know what I was going to say. I apologize. My brain is terribly frazzled after I
froze.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, all of that sounds wonderful. Why are you excited to start working on a new album? You mentioned that. Well, like, is there something in particular that you're just like fired up to kind of work on, or you have ideas that you're?
Well, we haven't been working on new songs for some time now. I mean, except Orchid, which was just released on Pseudopop, but that was just a one-off, really. So there is always a process of making an album. There's always sort of the way it blossoms, or like it spreads,
right?
and then it's sort of, there's a pause when it just grows, and then at one point we just hit our knees that, okay, let's do this, let's record. And I am sort of at that point now, because these demos have been sitting in the drawer for like a year. So I just don't want to keep them waiting for too long, because they will sort of lose their freshness and actuality for me. Obviously not for people, because they haven't heard it yet. But,
right.
But I've written these songs a year ago, and I just sort of want to reduce the time between the writing and the conception and the actual release,
right,
if that makes sense. So I'm trying to sort of make that gap shorter.
Sure, that makes sense. I'm sorry, I'm just like freezing out. Like, I'm so frustrated that.
All right, we can go back to that political thing and me not talking.
I mean,
during shows.
No, it's past. The time is gone. It's that magic's in the past. It's dead to me now. It's fine. You have cats? You guys have cats?
Yes, we do. You probably heard him in the background. He's meowing, so I'm just trying to shush him.
Oh, it's perfectly fine. I've got 2 small dogs, and they regularly make guest appearances on the podcast. You know, it can't be helped. They're just part of the show, so it's fine.
I hear you talking. I was like, literally gotta leave something behind that isn't garbage, that isn't attitude, that isn't attitude, that isn't attitude. You gotta embrace potentials and no potential will embrace you. What is your way? Where are you going? Why are you so bored? What do you need? Is it just the money? Spirit gone reborn. As I walk towards the bathroom, I keep your clothes to the side. And I wonder, are you not the waste of life? You might just be a worm, feeding on goodwill, not moving a finger, slithering downhill. You might just be a worm, feeding on goodwill, not moving a finger, slithering downhill. I hear you saying, I was like, literally. You know what this is sad, and I'm just angry. I wanna look behind the glass, behind those fillers. I wanna see you. Let's scratch beneath the surface. What is your way? Where are you going? Why are you so bored? What do you need? Is it just the money? Spirit's gonna be bored. As I walk towards the bathroom, I keep your clothes to the side. And I wonder, are you not the waste of life? What is your way? Where are you going? What do you need? Is it just the money?
So one thing that I did see on your website that I was kind of curious about is that it said that you had officially sort of formed as a creative entity in 2008. And is that how long you and Krisztian have been married, or I'm just curious.
No, actually, the band started with Sophie, one of my really good friends. I mentioned that my craving was originally for theater and performing because I couldn't find my voice early on, and I didn't know that I have a good singing voice, but I really wanted to be on stage. So firstly, we started doing this horror theater back in the day. So we were just doing horror performances to music, no speaking. This is where I mentioned that actually I don't really like to speak on stage. It doesn't really work for me, and I don't really do that. Even now, during shows, like between songs, I don't really talk much. Right. But I figured that I cannot really, so I'm probably not going to be an actress because speaking is just not my thing. But movement and dancing and just performing emotions that was really what I enjoyed, and getting into costumes. So this is what we were doing, and Sophie was also part of it. We started it together.
Right.
And we are performing at events, performance festivals. So yeah, it started from there. So, but then the craving for music came up again for me, and I really wanted to sing. And Sophie happened to play the piano, so we thought that, okay, we're gonna just put together what we have, and let's do some music. And we started to write songs. Sophie was composing on the piano, and I was sort of putting those melodies together into a song, and I started learning how to use softwares and stuff, and putting music together. So well, at the very beginning, I had a Cubase. I don't even know now which series it was, but this is what I started with. And I started putting songs together, like, for example, Rihanna's Umbrella, the first thing that we ever uploaded to YouTube. That was sort of a practice song, one can say. That was the very first song I've put together in a software. So it all started from there in 2008 with Umbrella, and then the very first song was Veronica from the first album, with a music video in the same year. And then we didn't perform on stage until 2010, and this is when actually Krisztian came into the picture. He saw us performing with the Depeche Mode tribute band that I was part of, doing backing vocals, and Sophie was actually playing the keys in that formation. So he saw us, and he had this idea that we would make a good group. Like we could do some music together with Sophie, which was funny enough because we were already working on songs with Sophie, but he sort of saw that we could really do something together.
Right.
And he contacted me offering that they have a studio, and maybe we could use that for recording, and they could help us, and let's just do something. And he could help us with remixes and putting a show on stage if we need any help. So he basically just contacted us to see if we can work together. And we didn't meet for some time. We just communicated online and over the phone.
Right.
And then when we met, we realized that there might be something more than just work relationship.
Sure. Okay.
And basically this is how it all started. But they helped us putting Black Nail Cabaret on stage back in 2010. We had to borrow some of their instruments as well, like a Korg, a triton. I'm not sure if this is how you pronounce it, or triton. We just say triton.
Yeah, sure.
So we borrowed one of those, and then we also used Sophie's Roland Juno G. And then we started recording the first album in their studio, and this is what was released in 2012.
Wow.
So this is how it all started. And Sophie left the band in 2016, and Chris took her place.
Gotcha. It's fascinating to sort of hear the story, just as somebody who, I mean, like, you know, leading up to the interview, I had sort of tried to dig around a little bit, and I mean, you know, there's not a whole lot about the history of the band, and I don't know, I always feel kind of okay with that, but, you know, I do get curious. But I mean, for the most part, like, you know, I feel mostly comfortable with, like, not knowing a whole lot about a band or an artist, like, if the art is strong enough to speak for itself, which, you know, I feel it is in this case, but, you know, I don't think that's true of everybody.
We don't really try to hide it or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
It's just I think at the beginning in 2016 and 17 when Sophie decided to leave the band, and then we were trying to find somebody to replace her, but it was pretty obvious that Chris has to step in, because by that time we were writing the songs together with him.
Right.
So that was an obvious step for him to be also visible on stage and on photos, and because he was working with me in the background anyway.
Right.
So I was like, okay, why should we find somebody else when there is a two of us anyway? So let's just make it a girl and boy duo, and instead of a girl and girl. So, but then for like 2 years, we were including all the stories that Sophie was at the beginning, and she left the band and whatever. I think it's still, that info is still on Wikipedia and on some pages, but some people started to question why there's a band on stage and where's Sophie, even after like we released an album with Chris together.
Right.
And I was like, okay, maybe we should start sending out our bio without the information what was in the past, because everyone was just focusing what was like 2-3 years ago, and no one knows that Chris took the place and that he's the part of Black Nail Cabaret. So this is why it probably happened that we started to sort of like focus on the present and the future, instead of always describing the past in meticulous detail.
Sure.
But I mean, obviously Sophie's still there and is still mentioned, and she's on the cover of the second album.
Right.
She's on old pictures. The old pictures are still there. She's mentioned on our Wikipedia page and all that.
Right. Gotcha. And I mean, when you sort of reflect on those albums, and you think about the songs that are on them, I mean, obviously you have ones on there that you're going to love, and others that you will feel that you have learned from or outgrown maybe. But when you look back on those albums, and that sort of earlier incarnation of Black Nail Cabaret, like, how do you feel about it contrasted with sort of what it's become now?
A lot different, for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the first album, well, there was always some development, for sure.
Sure.
We always try to sort of outdo, or not outdo, because that sounds like pressure, but it's not that. It's just to do something different with what we have learned since the last album.
Sure.
And comparing the fifth album to the first, I mean, there is obviously a huge difference. For me, it sounds like a completely different band. Our mindset was completely different back then. My influences were completely different. The way I wanted to present myself on stage was completely someone else. And it's just, it just really shows the sort of development of a person. Right. I think the how you change. Everybody changes all the time. So I think that sort of shows that.
Right.
And to be honest with you, like, that is really personal, but I don't like to listen to the first album at all. So we just started to releasing our back catalog, and Pseudopop was a huge a milestone for us, I can say. That was really something emotionally important for me, and I think for Chris as well. Well, musically, definitely, but also emotionally, I think we are both attached to it. But the first album, if we have to release that again, I mean, that will need some serious redoing and remixing and reworking. We just cannot. So that's not us anymore. The way those songs sound and the way they're mixed and everything about them is just no.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, people grow, people evolve. I mean, it's just it's interesting to sort of look back on it 10 years later and sort of see what you had sort of started as versus what it's become. It's definitely
definitely.
Definitely grown a lot darker, it seems, which is okay with me. But Pseudopop is such an emotional album to listen to. It's, I mean, you were talking about how it was very emotional for the two of you. I mean, that translates, that comes through very clearly. I mean, it's very moving. That was one of the first there was a track on Pseudopop, was one of my first exposures to Black Nail Cabaret back when I was still at Region, I think. I was still at Region because we had put you guys on a couple of like playlists and stuff, trying to kind of do our part of like promoting artists and stuff.
Sweet.
I that record just has so much emotion in it, and really powerful, really moving. And I always I tend to gush about some of the artists that come on the show. That's part of the gig, I feel like, but I I really like you the things that you've created, not just music, but visually, like music videos, artwork for album releases. As I said in the part of this interview that accidentally got cut due to some idiot, I don't know, somebody here, I don't know who it was, maybe, but it was like I love like how you guys are working in between every single medium that you kind of touch, and bring like that sort of artist's touch to everything that you release and put out. And the things that you've been releasing and making have definitely enriched my life and the life of people I care about. So thank you both so much. And please, pass my, give my gratitude to Krisztian.
I will.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long. We've been talking for about 27 minutes on the record now.
Right.
But I don't want to keep you too much longer. So
I still have some time. That's fine.
Okay.
I just ordered. I just said 8 p.m. because I ordered a pizza.
Gotcha. Okay.
I expected to arrive around 8. So, but I can let you know when it comes, and then we can sort of wrap it up. Then.
Okay. No.
Or whatever. I'm very happy to talk to you. It's lovely to talk to you. So.
The night has a tune. The night has a shape. The night has a color. Tonight is an age. Geometric forms in the sky, blue and orange stripes. Tonight is heavy and unsafe. A bed in outer space. Flying to the unknown, balancing with grass. My eyes get used to the darkness. Our ship is melting away. I am the only one. I'm the only one awake.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's kind of the goal with recording for the podcast, is like I always try and be like super flexible. If somebody needs to cancel last minute because they're like not feeling well or they're not in the right mindset or mood, like that's okay. I understand.
Actually, it's funny because I wasn't in the right mindset this whole week.
Right.
And I'm not in the right mindset for anything really. It's a terrible week mentally. But I was like, anything that can drag me out of it,
right.
I think that sort of helps. So, and I didn't want to let you down, because it's just, the show must go on,
Right.
I mean, meaning life. Like, I just cannot keep postponing things.
Right. I'm guilty of doing that. But I appreciate it. I mean, like, I feel like it's, I don't know. I feel like there's, I want to talk to people at times when, like, they're comfortable. Like, the feedback I always get after people are on the show is that they're always like, "Oh, this was so fun. I had such a good time. Oh, it was so fun." And I'm like, I'm glad, like, because there's plenty of time and plenty of space for us to be for all of us to be up our own collective asses talking about how much we love art and the translations of the ethereal and all this kind of this high-minded sort of academic level interpretations and meditations on art. But like, man, sometimes it's nice to just like sit and have a conversation with somebody about like a TV show or a book or something,
definitely
something mundane a little bit.
It's just open up stuff. Right. Yeah.
So in the spirit of that, the last question that I usually kind of ask on the show, I'm just curious, what's something that you've been enjoying lately? Like, is there something in particular that maybe left a profound impression on you? If it's a book, a TV show, movie, anything, has there been something that's just really struck you and you've just been really loving?
Well, the book I'm reading is completely, if not life-changing, but year-changing for sure, and thought-provoking. It's called, it's not in front of me right now, but it has been written by Kalu Rinpoche. Well, actually, it's a collection of his works. It's a collection and an amazing summary about all the vehicles within Buddhism. And I think the title is, let me just look that up so I can give you the exact title, but I think it is The Illuminate Mind. Hold on. Just bear with me.
Sure.
Just to make sure. Sorry. So the book is called Luminous Mind, The Way of the Buddha. And that has been written, it's a collection of works by Kalu Rinpoche. So that really stuck with me. And even though I'm in the first half of the book, at the first 10 pages, I knew that, wow, this sort of contains all the answers to the questions that I had lately. So
gotcha.
I even just posted, the other day, the first pages, first two paragraphs into my story. And I've got several messages on my Instagram from people asking, oh, wow, what book is this? And when I told them, they said that, oh, I didn't expect that. Right. Because it's not something that you would expect from a Buddhist book.
Right.
So it was just amazing. But also, like, musically, there's some great stuff happening.
Just before I just for a second here, what made you decide to choose that book? I'm just curious, like, what led you to it, that you were like, I'm gonna read this one?
I'm practicing Buddhism, and though the further I go, the more questions arise. So I always have plenty of questions, and I do meditate, and I do meditate on those questions and the answers I've found. But more and more questions come up every single time. So I just sort of chose that book because the teacher I've been following, who is Lama Olanidal, the Danish Lama, his teacher was actually Kalu Rinpoche. And when I saw that book that is available, I was just curious because I know that he was really strict. He was a really powerful teacher. So I really wanted to see and read his views on Buddhism and the practice itself. So this is why I bought it.
I put on a smile, a fake one, a great one. I feel like a slave, I feel like a nun. I am the worker, you are in charge. You are my ruler, my casual guard. And I wanna get out, I wanna get out, I wanna get out. I just wanna feel wanted, I wanna know that I'm needed.
I'm not trying to like delve or anything. I'm just curious. But what
Sure.
what have you been enjoying musically? Are there any like
Right.
artists that are smaller than yourself that you've discovered that you've just been like, man, this artist is great?
You smaller? I mean, how
Yeah.
do you mean small?
I
Did
mean-
you say smaller?
I did say smaller. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
in my mind, Black Nail Cabaret is like big. It's a big band. Like he played a show
No,
with
I
like Covenant.
think everyone-
love Covenant. I've loved
everyone I
Covenant
just-
for like 20 years. Like it's big to me. I'm sorry.
I mean, Covenant is huge.
Right. I mean, you guys
I
are
think,
big
and
to
it's
me.
been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure and an honor to open their shows in the past German tours. That was amazing. That is really like a dream come true, and they're also lovely people. It's always amazing to work with them. They're great artists and great musicians, and also lovely people to hang out with. But I think, well, each time I find an act, it's usually not, well, it's definitely not smaller than us. Usually we are the tiny ones compared to them. I mean, in my eyes, but maybe I'm just like diminishing ourselves or something. That is something that I tend to do with myself. So anyway, but these are huge. And for example, I just recently discovered, like, I know that they've been around for some time, but I'm not really listening to all kinds of acts who happen to play at similar festivals as we do.
Right.
But I've been actually using Spotify's Discover Weekly, which has been amazing, and it exposed me to bands and artists that I probably would never ever find if I just if it's not a random list.
Right.
And one of them happened to be actors. I've heard about them already. I know that they've been playing at some festivals. I saw their names many times, but I didn't really know what sort of music they play. But one song came up, which sort of became my hymn that I've been using to calm my nerves before a show and do my makeup. And it's just such an amazing song. Yeah, it's We Don't Have to Dance.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just this is what I've been listening to backstage on the Covenant tour, and do my makeup to, and it just calmed me completely. It just brought me back to a really good mood. So I thank to them from here. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna see Jason in a couple of days. Actually, Actors is playing
Oh,
Sacramento,
nice.
and
Okay, please say that I'm saying hi and thank you for that song. It was truly a lifesaver.
I absolutely will. I adore that song, so I'm right there with you. I got the chance to see them here in Reno. Actually, I mean, the part of I'm in Reno, Nevada, and people don't really come through here on like tours or shows or anything because it's like it's just out of the way enough to sort of be like almost in the desert, right? Like, and like the nearest big city, like California, is only a few hours away, and you know there's plenty of venues and stuff to play there, but it's you have to go over this like pass, and it's like really unpredictable weather going over the pass.
Yeah.
So when I got the chance to see them Actors here, it was like I paid like $8 for my ticket, and like there wasn't hardly anybody there, but like they came out and just slayed it, like just played it like it was a sold out show, and it was like one of the best shows I've ever seen. Yeah, Jason's great.
Amazing.
I love that band a lot.
Lovely. Hope I will see them live one day on some stage. Yeah, totally. The other, I would probably highlight the other artist, which was the greatest find of 2021 for me, was Louisa, who is actually a US artist, and she combines the industrial with the sort of techno sound, which I love.
Yeah.
And she's just so badass and so cool. And the other act, which I'm hoping, well, probably, I'm not sure if I will actually be able to see them, but they're performing in Hungary very soon. It's Hyde. And I think That is just another brilliant thing, which is sort of industrial, but not that much, and it's a bit like Nine Inch Nails, but it's just the singer, her voice is just so powerful. So I just love that. I would love to see what they do on stage, to be honest. So I hope I will get a chance.
Same. Those are all fantastic picks. Big fan of all those artists. And yeah, I like, honestly, as much as I really don't like, I'm not super stoked about Spotify or anything, but like, man, whatever algorithm they have, like my Discover Weekly has like, has turned me on to so many bands that I simply wouldn't have found otherwise.
Right. And that's the good thing about it, is because I'm listening to all kinds of stuff from RuPaul to techno to industrial, and it's probably having a hard time figuring it out what I really like. So it's putting all kinds of stuff in there, from Peaches to Susie and the Banshees to some techno acts, some minimal electronica. So some wonderful stuff, really. And because I've been listening to a lot of experimental, chill, sort of like bonobo, for example, in the background, and how when I'm working, it sort of mixes it into that playlist.
Right.
And it's just great. I think it's just great.
Yeah, it really is. I do have I might have a recommendation for you. It's like, so if you're ever like, are you familiar with like trip hop kind of stuff, like Massive Attack, Uncle, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been listening to Massive Attack as well as other trip hop acts. Although I'm not that well educated with names and stuff, but I really love trip hop and experimental electronic music.
I mean, I guess it's kind of a silly question to be like, hey, have you ever heard of, this band, one of the biggest bands on the planet? Like, but,
No. I mean, I know what you mean. That's fine. I thought you have someone really specific.
Oh, I do. So there's an artist called Public Memory. They're not, super huge or anything, but they've got this record, Wuthering Drum, that came out in 2016. And I mean, they've got other releases since then.
Public Memory, did you say?
Yep.
Public Memory. Okay, I'm just going to write that up, because I'm always like, now I'm open to new stuff. Most of the year I'm closed. Right. And I'm listening to the same playlist over and over, but now I'm open. So it's good.
I try to force myself to listen to new stuff, but I mean, every now and again, I slip back into like the old favorites of.
It's just overwhelming. I mean, for me, musically, when when we are working on a new album, I'm usually wide open, and I just need the new influences, and then I close down and I just keep listening to what I found, just to listen to it more deeply and sort of process it. And so I always need time to process and get back to the old stuff before I can process something new again. For
sure. I feel the same way. Like I have to go through these like periods where I just kind of like let a little bit in at a time, so that I can like really appreciate all that it has to offer. And
there are so many, and it's just so hard. It can be overwhelming.
Right. It certainly can be. The other artist I was going to suggest to you is somebody who has actually expressed to me privately that they were fans of yours. Hallows, HALLOWS. They were actually recommended to me by another guest, which was I interviewed Mark Heel from Cubinate and C-Tech, and he was like, "Oh, you got to check out Hallows. They're this great band. They sound good. They look good. You have to check them out." And so
it's a duo, isn't it?
Yep. It is.
I found them. Okay, I will give a listen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sure. I didn't know them before, so that's good.
Yeah. And I mean, they like your music, so I mean, obviously they're worth, obviously they have good taste, so, But
Thank you. Well, that's the thing that usually I am a sucker for music, which is the furthest from what we do.
oh, really?
So this is what usually happens: is that I'm either into techno or into something really post-punkish alternative, or or very experimental, very taken apart with glitches and stuff. So that sort of builds up the bridge inside me towards the pop music that I always had in front of me.
Right.
So yeah. But anyway, no, I really like to listen to new stuff, so I would definitely give them a listen.
Cool. Yeah, they branded themselves as Seattle Sad Wave, which was very
Nice.
amusing. I love. But yeah, I mean, I love what they're doing. Really great stuff. But yeah,
Thank you.
the book I would recommend, but it's it's a very simple, humble sort of a book about a alien that comes to Earth. I've recommended this before, and I just love this book. I try to get people to read it as often as I can. But it's sort of a graphic novel kind of a thing, but almost like a children's book, but kind of not really. It's called Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too, and it's written by Jomny Sun. Have you ever read this or heard of it?
No, I haven't heard about it, but I'm writing it up right now.
Okay. And the title is like misspelled, as if, written by somebody who... Children, yeah. So,
that's awesome.
But it's full of these like little moments of like, he meets, this alien is trying to learn about humans, and he meets an otter, or he meets an owl that's like, I'm not sure owls are supposed to be wise. I'm not sure I'm wise. Maybe I'm not an owl. I'm not a good owl. And
I love this stuff.
It
reminds me of that Scandinavian little book. Well, that is a children's book for sure. It's actually not a comic book, but basically a drawing sort of thing.
Right.
We found a hat with two turtles. Do you know that?
No, I don't.
Like the title is that We Found a Hat. It's just it's very plain. It's for small children. Really, it's one sentence on each page. One sentence.
Okay.
So it's really simple. But the whole what the story gives you. It's just amazing, and there should be more of that for children, and I loved it, and I actually bought it for Chris as a present.
For the first time in my life, I don't know how I feel. I don't envy you. You don't know that breathless castle for your trumped-up lovers. You may not suspect it might be automatic. It might only be an involuntary habit. And I can't speak for others, but take this as a warning. If I marched against you, I think I'd have an army. I think I'd have an army. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. What do I do with my furry? Do I really need you in my life? Your life is a mimicry, and you hack my mind. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. I think I wanna kill you, but I believe in peace, bitch. I think I wanna kill you.
But just to, yep, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, like, this is kind of a similar idea. Like, it's not a ton of... It dives into... It addresses very sort of serious and profound aspects of, like, human life and existence and the human condition in very simple ways. And it's very sort of humble in the way that it presents that. And
I love that.
I stumbled over it in, like, some used bookstore and ended up giving that copy, the first copy of it I got away. I loved it so much. You know, one of those books where you're like, hey, not only do you need to read this, I'm going to give you my copy to make sure you do, and then I'm going to follow up with you and make sure you read it. But, you know, my wife gifted me another copy for
I will look that up. But then now that we talk, I mean, I just gave you the last book the book I am reading now, but obviously I'm not reading only Buddhist books, but that's the one which just found me. But I think my favorite book of all time, even though I don't tend to read novels that much, I always read something that is more like scientific, or I can learn something from it, or philosophical, or psychological, or someone's biography or history. So I always read these kind of books. So they're not much novels, but my favorite book is actually a novel, and you're probably going to know it. I just have a feeling that you know it. It's Clive Barker's Weave World.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely know Clive Barker. And I'm familiar with that book too. I love... That
inspired so many songs, and wow, it's just... I read it twice, once in Hungarian, and then when we moved to London, I bought it in English, and I read it then again, and both times it inspired tons of lyrics and tons of stories, and I just love it. It touches me to the deepest, to my core. It's just amazing.
There's something about Clive Barker's writing that is so, I mean, it's compelling, but there's something about it that just feels so visceral at times.
It does.
Tactile almost. Like, I mean, and that can be, he uses that like as a weapon at times. Like he, have you ever read The Damnation Game?
No, I haven't read any other books by him.
I mean, honestly, I've read a lot of his stuff. He also has another book. It's like a young adult kind of a book called The Thief of Always. That
that one's really wonderful too. But he wrote one of his other horror novels, The Damnation Game. I had to put it down. Like, it was just too. It was too much for me. Like, I love like all of his short stories, like Books of Blood and stuff like that. Those are wonderful, and those have gore and, you know, pretty intense things in them. But like, I don't know, Damnation Game was just too much. I was like three-quarters of the way through it, and I just was like, I was exhausted.
Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. Some people are all like, "Oh shit, I gotta read it," and so I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's
right.
Maybe it's up your alley.
I mean, I can understand that, because, like, in Weird World, it gives you the horror, but then he kind of makes up for it with the emotional part, with the emotional side and the struggle they go through,
right?
The fight of the good and the evil. And it's just, I think, it's just like life, that there's some horror, there's some ugliness, and you cannot look away because it's there. But then at the same time, you are thriving you're fighting for the good, and you're aspiring for the good. But sometimes there is the horror that you are forced to look at, and it's just amazing. Just find it amazing. And then there is the fantasy that you're trying to sort of escape to. All sorts of, for me, it's all sorts of symbolic, and it's just beautiful.
I'm a big fan of that book, and Clive Barker at large. I
just recently ordered. I didn't realize, because I am actually craving for a good movie, but I know it's a big. Like, it's a huge bit, so it's going to be probably like something like the Lord of the Rings, because it's just too much. Even though it's one book, it's like it should be probably 3 movies out of it, because there's just too many stuff happening, and I always face it when I reread the book. But I didn't realize it's coming in a comic form.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And I think it's from the 90s. It's a typical 90s sort of not hardcover, but a nicer cover. So it's a bit harder cover than the usual comic books. And there are like 3 books, and I managed to order the first book from Germany, and it's just beautiful. It's on the top of my shelf. In front of all the other books.
I think there's been a couple of graphic novel editions of his novels. I want to say I owned. Maybe I even have it now. Like, I think I have a copy of Thief of Always that's like, I mean, the one of his books is like, he has his own illustrations that he does too. I mean, he's a wonderful artist. Like, you know, if Clive Barker hears the show, he can come on Void Signal. I'm okay with that. He can,
right.
But I do, his artwork's great, but like, he's done a couple of those like illustrated versions of his novels, and I really enjoy them.
Right.
They bring a lot.
I don't know if it's consultant was Clive Barker, but the penciler, inker, colorist, all different people. So no, that it was published in 1991.
Oh wow,
it's amazing. It's just,
that's wild. I'm impressed that you were able to get one. The book that I always sort of reread and I always just bang on about is Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. Like, my wife got me a signed first edition, and I'm so in love with that book.
Wow.
I mean, like, I love Vonnegut, like, as a person, but like, that book just has a lot of really really profound moments in it that sort of address. Have you ever read it at all?
No, I haven't. I don't think I have.
It
doesn't sound familiar. I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? Just hold your thought. Hold your thought.
Sure.
Megjött a pizza. Elintézed? Aha, létszi. De ha nem, akkor szóljál be, és akkor adok kápét. Chris just came home in the meantime, and I see from the window that the pizza arrived as well.
No worries.
I'm just trying to make arrangements for him to pay for it.
No, it is perfectly fine. Well, that sounds like the rest of your evening has just unfolded, so I will let you.
Yep.
I will let you go ahead and go. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and thanks for the recommendations. It's
absolutely
been amazing.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for your time and for your patience with my fucked up recording. But have a great rest of your evening. And, again, pass my gratitude on to Krisztian. And thank you again so much.
Thank you, and thanks for having me, and have a lovely rest of the day, I guess, because it's still daytime on your end.
I'm going to go walk, take my dogs out again and force my wife to go do fun stuff. So,
lovely.
All right. Have a good one.
Enjoy it.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this episode of Void Signal, you can visit voidsignal.net to make a small donation to the podcast. Even just $1 here and there helps. You can also find merchandise, stop by, buy a shirt, and help support the podcast. Otherwise, you can click all the social media buttons. Those help too, and I appreciate it. Thanks so much, and take care.